win at least one playoff game this year, something they haven't done in almost a decade.
I would not. I would not believe it. Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016. Most older quarterbacks don't all of a sudden get better. Aaron Rodgers hasn't had a relevant on the field since 2020 when he was an MVP in the league.
Specifying on the field.
Yeah, on the field. Yeah, definitely.
Been very relevant off the field.
That's right. That's right, for other reasons. So I don't see Aaron Rodgers turning back the hands of time and becoming that guy that we've known for all these years as the first ballot Hall of Fame.
On Saturday, it was made official. Rodgers is a member of the Steelers. And you were making an interesting point this morning, Trader, as we were talking in our meeting, that maybe what they need him to do is exactly what he should do.
He showed up to New York last tenure here 2 years ago, and it was, here's the entire franchise, save us. Like, go save us, make it happen. And he brought in all his guys, he had his offensive coordinator, and as the weight of the world was behind him, he comes in here, $10 million contract, which is a great value to Omar Khan in the front office, and we're going to put you in a situation where we have veterans already. Just play football. Just play football. You have a one-year deal. Just play football and be great. And I think the Arthur Smith offense works, but I'll add this. You might look at that mix between the Pittsburgh culture of blue-collar, hard-working. Guys, his greatest success has been with Mike McCarthy, Pittsburgh guy. Alex Van Pelt, Pittsburgh guy. Tom Clements, Pittsburgh guy. I think Rodgers knows that Pittsburgh mindset, knows that market, and I think it actually makes a lot of sense that he could be plugged right in. Let's go play football and win games.
Worst place they could be in, Pittsburgh.
How so?
Okay, so he's good enough, they're good enough, they're going to go 9-8, 10-7. They won't matter in the playoffs, and we all know that. And then they're not bad enough to get a top 8 pick and finally find the quarterback of the future. And so anybody who says that Aaron can't play anymore, you're just being a hater because of some of the things you don't like about him as a person. But this still is a subpar offensive line. They only have really DK Metcalf on the perimeter. Brian Root's a really nice tight end. They don't work the middle of the field with Arthur Smith right now. Maybe that'll change with Aaron, but Aaron didn't necessarily do a ton last year. So you're in that area where, wait, great, we're going to be a contending team, but we are not better than Buffalo, we're not better than Kansas City, we're not better than Denver, we're not better than Chargers, we're not better than the Bengals, we're not better than the Ravens. So are we really going to matter? No. But we're not going to be bad enough. Like, at the end of the day, if the Steelers said we're going with Mason Rudolph this year because we have to figure out this position for the future and next year's college class is going to be good, I would have stepped back and said, like, not traditionally how you go do it, but I understand the reasoning why.
I understand what you were saying. The flip side of that, though, is only one team is going to finish with the first pick, right? So the Steelers probably wouldn't have been the worst team in the league anyway. They have a bunch of draft capital. They're going to be able to maneuver the draft next year anyway. The Steelers are not about sucking. And what you're talking about is...
But they're also not about...
to be terrible.
They're also not about the first question that we asked was, will Aaron Rodgers win them all playoff?
Well, for the last 10 years, they have been. They haven't even won all playoff.
Could you argue, though, that they made the two biggest swings? They traded a second-round pick and are paying DK Metcalf $30 million. Right. And they went and got Aaron Rodgers at what I think is a great value, whether you like him or not. $10 million
value, but they will, on the field, can they block for him? Because the last time we saw him be great, which is 20 and 21, #1 offensive line in football. That's not what Pittsburgh has right now. And they have one dude on the perimeter. One.
So I understand that. Look, is the roster imperfect? Obviously. Is the situation perfect? Obviously not. I am intrigued, however, by what Schrader said. You're close to that Jet situation. When he showed up here, you know it, they basically became the New York Rodgers. Yeah. It was just here. You do everything. We have no idea what we're doing. You seem to. You go do it. Now, if all he needs to do is show up, play football, and sort of, to whatever other degree you can, kind of keep out of everything else, see if he does that, that might be exactly what he's best suited to be doing right this minute.
Well, the weight of the world is off the shoulders because you have the Pittsburgh culture. But here's what I will say. Guys, can we acknowledge what Tom Brady did as a 40-year-old quarterback was an anomaly? Right. What we're asking Aaron Rodgers to be is a force multiplier at 41 years old. That's what we're asking him to be. And that's just not the case. There's too many deficiencies with the Pittsburgh Steelers for us to say, okay, we're going to plug in Aaron Rodgers, and all of a sudden they're going to do something that they haven't done since 2016.
Aaron can still play. Again, if he goes and gets to Pittsburgh this year and still plays at a good level, They are not better than Buffalo or Kansas City or Houston or Denver or the Chargers.
You would have never said Washington was going to have any chance. Like, you don't know that.
I absolutely know that. You're going to tell me you think if Aaron Rodgers plays
chance
good
that you
football,
get better with Aaron Rodgers. They were a team that
better. You're going to take them over Baltimore?
Right this minute, no. But things happen that surprise us all the time. And I think the central point I'm trying to make, look, do I think that they're a top 5 team in the AFC? No, absolutely not. But crazier things have happened. But maybe more importantly here, the Steelers have leadership. It's not his team, sure, right? It's Tomlin's team. It's all those vets on defense's team. I think
Can I ask you a question? Quickly. Do 40-year-old quarterbacks get healthy?
Generally not. No.
So we're again, the whole premise is we're expecting a 41-year-old quarterback to all of a sudden be healthy, play at a high level,
and beat Lamar,
and beat Lamar, and
beat CJ.
That's what we're asking.
That's pretty much what we're asking at this point in Pittsburgh. It is better than the alternative, however, in my opinion.
Sure.
I don't know if you
Absolutely.
if you're the Steelers.
We're not.
We have so much going this morning, and we've got, but your long game is strong. Here we go. Would you believe with D Wood? Would you believe if I told you that Saquon is going to rush for 2,000 yards again this year?
You know, I would not believe it. You know how many things that have to go right for someone to rush for 2,000 yards? You know the Philadelphia Eagles have a new play caller, Kevin Couture. You got changes on the offensive line. And most importantly, health. Health plays an important factor in this whole equation. So, no, I don't think Saquon's going to rush for 2,000.
Traeger, it's been more than 2 decades since any team repeated as champs in the NFC East. Are the Eagles finally going to break that?
They sure are equipped to do so. They've got everything you need as far as core assets go. The question is, can they do it without Kellen Moore, and can they replace the key members of that defense that got rated over the offseason? But I like that the coaches are mostly back, and I like the fact that Saquon and Hurts are just getting started.
People like what Washington is doing a lot, we'll see. And then in the division, we also have Dallas. Let's get to them. If I said Dak is going to right the ship and the Cowboys will be back in the playoffs, would you believe that?
I would believe that. Listen, I think the offensive line is going to be better. They've invested in it. Obviously, we know we talk about George Pickens, but the most important thing is Dak's health. When Dak plays a full slate of regular season games, that's 6 years, they made the playoffs 5 times. So it's really predicated on Dak staying healthy and being on the field.
Orlovsky, Cowboys playoffs?
I'm not putting them in the playoffs, but I do believe that they will be playoff contending come December. It's not so much just about Dak Prescott for me. This team's got to get more physical. It's one of the, at least at the line of scrimmage, both sides, softer teams in the NFL over the past 2 or 3 seasons. Under Ryan Schottenheimer, you're going to have to find a way to get more physical in the NFC.
Did you see that little graphic at the beginning there, Schrager? They're the 4th worst odds to make the playoffs in the entire NFC. Only the Panthers, the Saints, and the Giants are projected worse. That surprises me.
Yeah, people probably look at the schedule and see the gauntlet they have to do during December towards the end of the season. But to Dan's point, if Dak Prescott is healthy and that defense can stand up, this is a team that should be very, very much in the mix throughout the regular season.
Yeah, they're also not one of the best rosters in the NFC. That's why.
Okay, well, so I continue to find it a surprise. What can you say? D Wood, let's get back to business. Would you believe it if I told you Aaron Rodgers of the Steelers will...
Yeah, I got that today.